Welcome to the Flip and Castle podcast.
Welcome back, everyone. We're going to dive into a story that's sending shockwaves, really, through the music industry. Over 120 individuals, they're all pointing the finger at Sean Diddy Combs.
Yeah, and these aren't just little accusations. These are serious, serious allegations of misconduct.
And we should be clear here, this isn't just some, tabloid drama. This is about people's lives. It's about careers, power dynamics, the kind of stuff that might have kept people quiet until now, really.
Absolutely. And it's kind of remarkable. It's really unprecedented when you think about it. To have this many people, over 100, all willing to come forward together.
Yeah, represented by a single attorney who's saying he's got the evidence to back it all up. That's a big deal. That's huge.
Oh, it's massive. Especially when you think about it, against someone like Diddy, someone with his influence and power in the industry.
It's not just a couple of whispers, right?
Yeah.
This is a chorus.
Yeah.
And today, we're really digging into this interview with the attorney himself. He lays out what he calls two main buckets of accusations. The first one is really about what's going on, for young talent, how vulnerable they are when they're trying to break into this industry, right?
Yeah, it's almost like, sadly, it's almost a classic tale. Think about the music industry, right? It's like this pressure cooker. Everyone wants their shot. Everyone wants that big break. And then you have someone like Diddy at the top, and this attorney is claiming that he exploited that hunger, that desperation for a career.
It's heavy stuff.
It is.
And then it gets worse because he's alleging coercion. There are allegations of pressure, even assault.
Yeah.
And he says this pattern, it wasn't just limited to these aspiring artists. It goes further. The second bucket that he describes is even darker.
Yeah.
It's allegations of drugging at parties that often, according to him, led to assault.
Yeah. And he even mentioned there's a potential case involving a minor, which is just awful.
It's chilling. It's really disturbing.
It is.
What really struck me, I don't know about you, is how this lawyer, he's claiming to have hard evidence. He's talking videos, text messages. He says he's got it all.
Yeah, and that's a game changer.
Yeah.
He's not just saying, oh, these things happen. He's saying, I've got proof.
And here's the other thing. He's not just aiming at Diddy. He's calling out, the whole system. Others enabled this or participated, at least. That's what he's implying.
Right. He's saying this wasn't just one person acting alone.
He even hinted that there could be some big names involved, celebrities, people who might have been at these parties. It's like he's sending a message. This was an open secret.
Yeah.
And I'm coming for anyone who played a part.
It's a bold move, especially right now with Combs behind bars.
Oh, totally. Bail denied twice now.
It makes you wonder if this lawyer thinks that seeing Diddy face actual legal trouble, maybe it's giving others courage to come forward. It's like, maybe this time something will actually happen.
Because we both know, let's be real, the music industry, it's got this reputation.
Well, it's a long one.
It's a messy one. They sweep this kind of behavior under the rug.
All the time. And there's this culture of silence that's so deeply ingrained. It's like you're up against these titans, big money, bigger names. And the fear is you speak up, you get blacklisted, your career's over before it even begins.
And you know what gets me about all this fear? It's not just music, right? This pressure to just shut up and put up. We've seen it everywhere. Hollywood, tech, even politics, you name it.
It's everywhere. And it makes you wonder, how much has been allowed to just fester? How many people have suffered because of this culture of fear?
For real. And it makes you think this whole thing with Diddy, it could be way bigger than him. This could be a domino effect.
Oh, absolutely. And this is what I find so interesting. It's not just a case of, oh, here's a bad guy, let's take him down. It's about systemic change. This attorney is pointing at a culture of exploitation, and that puts the spotlight on everyone.
Everyone who maybe looked the other way, everyone who might have benefited.
Exactly. And he's not being shy about it. He's saying, if you saw something, if you heard something, you need to come forward. That's a big deal. Because to really change things, it can't just be about holding a few individuals accountable. We have to look at the whole machine, the thing that allowed this behavior to go unchecked for who knows how long.
So are we talking about a total overhaul of the music industry then? Where do you even start to dismantle that kind of power structure? It seems almost impossible.
Yeah, it's a huge task, for sure. But I don't think it's impossible. It takes a multifaceted approach, right? I think it starts with transparency. You need accountability. Stronger regulations from the top, yeah, but also independent oversight, maybe even something like an anonymous reporting channels, so people in the industry, artists, employees, they can speak up without fear of retribution.
You're talking about safety, right? Making it so people can actually come forward without feeling like they're going to lose their livelihood.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's where I think unions, organizations that support artists, they have a huge role to play here, providing legal resources, being a safety net for people who are brave enough to come forward. But it also falls on the industry itself, the leaders. They need to step up and say, this ends now, and actually mean it.
We've seen this song and dance before, haven't we? These big scandals. And more often than not, it feels like nothing really changes. So how do we make sure this time it's different?
I think it comes down to pressure. The media, yeah, they have to keep digging, keep reporting on this, but also the public. People have to be outraged. Consumers hold a lot of power. They can choose to support artists who are ethical, who support labels that are trying to do the right thing, hold everyone accountable with their wallets, essentially.
So this isn't just about lawsuits and courtrooms. This is about a shift, right? Like how we as a society, how we value and protect people who are vulnerable to this kind of illness.
Exactly. And that's why this whole case, it's so important. This isn't just about Sean Combs. It's about a reckoning, potentially, for an entire industry. And what happens next, it could have a ripple effect.
Beyond music, even.
Absolutely. This could impact how we think about power dynamics and accountability in so many different fields.
It's a lot to process. It's a lot to think about. And I'll be honest, it's kind of overwhelming because it's not just about one person's alleged actions, right? We're talking about challenging an entire system that has protected abusers and silenced victims probably for decades.
And that's why having conversations like this is so important. It's about shedding light on these dark corners. It's about hopefully contributing to a future where people in power are held accountable and where everyone feels safe enough, respected enough to just come forward and speak their truth.
It really makes you think, right? Where do we go from here? What happens next? It feels like, I don't know, the whole thing. It's like a powder keg and we're just waiting for that next spark.
Yeah. And it's that uncertainty that's so potent, right? Because you got to figure, anyone who might have been involved in this, even if it was just a little bit, they're watching this whole thing unfold and wondering, is my name going to come up?
Right.
And that's got to be a powerful motivator for some people, you know, to try and get ahead of it, trying to control the narrative.
Especially with this attorney, he seems to be everywhere, knows everyone. He's not just talking lawsuits, he's talking about exposing everyone.
It's like he's got this whole network mapped out.
Yeah.
And if even a small part of what he's alleging is true, there are probably a lot of powerful people right now who are freaking out, lawyering up, trying to distance themselves from Diddy as much as possible.
Yeah, it makes you think about the human costs, too. Imagine being one of these people coming forward, knowing what they're risking. It takes a lot of courage.
Oh, for sure. It's a huge gamble. But every voice that speaks up, it adds to the chorus. It makes it harder to ignore. There's power in numbers. And hopefully that's what gives others courage. You know, not just in music, but anywhere that this kind of abuse happens.
It's like we might be seeing a turning point, not just for going after individuals, but for changing the whole culture that allows this behavior to continue.
Maybe, but change like that, real change, it's not just about words. It takes action, right?
Yeah.
From the people at the top, the lawmakers, all of us, really, because we've seen this before. People get upset, but then it fades away and nothing really changes.
So how do we make sure that this time it's different? How do we make sure this isn't just another headline that people forget about in a week?
We have to keep talking about it. We have to keep shining a light on it. Demand transparency, you know, demand better. I think when survivors see that, when they feel safe, when they know they're going to be heard, that's when things really start to shift.
And it's bigger than just, you know, calling people out when they do something wrong. It's about changing how we think about power, about respect, consent, in all parts of our lives, really.
It's about teaching people, raising kids who understand these things. It's about creating a world where everyone feels safe, where everyone feels valued.
That's a big goal.
It is.
But it's a conversation worth having. It's a fight worth fighting. And for anyone listening who might be going through something similar, please know you are not alone. There are resources out there, people who want to help. Please don't be afraid to speak up, to share your story. And that's it for our deep dive today. Thank you all for listening. And until next time, stay informed, stay engaged. We'll see you all soon.